Okay, time now for our daily press review. Diptyque Laurent is with me in studio to take us through the main French stories to start with. Diptyque, we're going to start with the French President Emmanuel Macron, who's heading over to Corsica this week. It won't be the easiest of trips.
No, it won't be. It'll be a trip that'll be watched widely here in France because it is an important trip for the French president. He's heading to the southern French island, notably to commemorate the 20th death anniversary of Claude Erignac. He's a Corsican prefect who was gunned down 20 years ago by a nationalist at a time of high tensions between France and the island. Now, Macron's goal there is to reassure Corsicans that they are indeed part of France, one and united. There is no France and Corsica, they're all one. But it does come after the election of local MPs last year who want more autonomy for Corsica, and some people may see that as a stepping stone towards independence. So, as Le Figaro says, Macron is under pressure from the nationalists. Now, it's worth mentioning that the death of Claude Erignac by murder was an unprecedented attack in France. At the time, it really changed Corsica forever. Just after his death, tens of thousands of people hit the streets to condemn the violence, and Le Figaro notes it really shook up national consciences.
It'll be an interesting one to watch, especially when we're seeing what's happening in Spain and Catalonia in recent times. But let's move our attention to another French-Belgian story that's really getting a lot of attention today. It is, of course, the trial of the last surviving suspect of those Paris attacks of 2015.
That's Salah Abdeslam. He'll be making his first court appearance here in Brussels today in what'll be a high-profile trial, really widely watched by a lot of people. But this trial is not to do with the Paris 2015 attacks. It's actually in relation to a shooting 4 months after the attacks that actually ended the international manhunt for him. Now, there's much interest on what the 28-year-old will say, given that he's not said much so far. He's refused to talk time and time again, really frustrating the investigation, frustrating authorities, frustrating judges. Abdeslam is the terrorist who didn't speak, Libé says on its front page here. The editors of the left-leaning paper remind us that the right to silence is a fundamental human right, even if it's frustrating for us. The paper also asks the French government to review the isolated prison conditions of Abdeslam in France, saying he's under heavy security presence. He's on a 24-hour suicide watch. This is something that Abdeslam's own lawyer has also called to change. Now, Libé says if his incarceration can be justified for security reasons, well, it's giving him no incentive to be cooperative with French authorities.
Okay, a controversial one there, Diptyque. Meanwhile, moving on, and Le Croix, the Catholic newspaper, is looking back at recent violence between migrants in the last few weeks.
Well, that actually followed. There was a fight between migrants last week in Calais that followed this weekend with some violence in Italy, Eve. So, and it also comes over a year since the sprawling migrant camp at Calais that was known as the Jungle was dismantled. Yet La Croix notes that migrants are still flocking to the northern French city and attempting that perilous journey to cross into the UK, despite all the barriers put in place. Now, for La Croix, it's imperative to continue this, quote, thankless battle against human traffickers. We need to track their financial activities the way we track drug money or corruption. That's what La Croix says. They do admit, however, there are no easy solutions. We can't shut off our borders completely. We can't keep them open either to everyone. So,
yeah, another controversial one. Now, I believe you've picked up on one interview given by an EU commissioner, the EU Commissioner for Competition, Ms. Margrethe Vestager. She's been speaking about a whole range of different things.
That's right. The Dane, who, according to L'Opinion, is one of the most powerful women in the world. She's perhaps not so well known outside of Europe, but she's really made a name for herself here inside Europe for fearlessly holding US tech giants like Apple, Facebook and Google accountable to EU tax laws. Now, in this interview, she talks about a whole host of issues, including the Me Too movement. She says she personally hasn't faced sexual harassment, but she hails the movement as one of the most important things to happen in decades. There are even rumors that she could be a shoo-in as the next president of the European Commission.
She definitely has a very good public profile. Finally, Diptyque, from you for now, I believe you've been looking at a few pictures that look like pretty much the party of the year here in Paris.
That's right. Well, you and I were fast asleep, probably late on Sunday or early Sunday evening. A Brazilian footballer and Paris Saint-Germain forward Neymar was celebrating his 26th birthday with a who's who of football stars, wags and football officials, as you see here. The official theme was smoking suits for the men and long gowns for the ladies, a theme that apparently was well respected. It was held at the ultra-luxurious Cambon Hall in Paris. The party won't last too long. He's back to work in 2 days.
Okay, Diptyque, thanks a lot for that, Diptyque Laurent, there with our press review. Time for us to take a very quick break now.